Yes, it does. Welcome in. It's overtime on 95.7 The Game. We are back after almost a month away of overtime on 95.7 The Game. We are back because there's no Warriors basketball today, which means we are clear for Niners football. And the Niners are on their way to getting a win in Cleveland. About a minute and a half left. They have the ball after another Browns turnover on downs. Final touches being put on this victory for the Niners in Cleveland. Score currently 26-8. That will in all likelihood be the final score as well. We will keep you updated, of course, if anything else happens. But this is a win. The Niners improve to 9-4. Welcome in. It's overtime. I'm Mark Randy. That's Sterling Bennett. First of all, Sterling, it's great to be back on overtime with you and great to celebrate a Niner win. How you doing?
Mark, so much has happened since the last time we talked.
Yep.
Purdy came back. They had a terrible Monday Night Football game, yet they still won. But thankfully, in our return, we are celebrating a Niners victory, and it's even that much sweeter knowing the Rams got beat today, just a little bit closer to the NFC West title as this year goes on. So it's a great Sunday back. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Mark.
You too.
It's been so long, but 'tis the season, not just for Christmas, but for a San Francisco 49ers win out there in Cleveland. The dogs have been pounded. Animal control has been called. We have got the victory on this Sunday.
Yeah, 26-8 is the score right now. Niners about to run a 3rd and 1. If they get this, they'll knee on it once, and then that'll be the game. And they did indeed just convert. So first down, it'll take one more snap and a kneel down from Brock Purdy, and that'll be the game. The Niners will win 26-8. They will improve to 9-4. And as you mentioned, the leaders in the NFC West, the Los Angeles Rams, they lost in Carolina, the team that looked so bad on Monday night here in Santa Clara versus the Niners. That loss is important because now the Rams are sitting at 9-3 with those 3 losses. The Niners also have 9 wins. They have the extra game that they've played already because they haven't had their bye. That's coming up now. Sterling, we can talk about like the future, I think, throughout the show tonight or today. Because you have a bye, then you have the Titans. You should feel pretty good about yourselves. You have a great chance to be 10-4 after the next football game that you play, which is 2 weeks from now. Today, though, was a game really, really important. I was not expecting an 18-point Niner win. I was expecting a Niner win, but one that was maybe by 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 points, something along that line. Because I felt that the weather was going to be a big factor. It was cold, it was windy, but you didn't really have any precipitation, which I think helped the 49ers in this game. And then what the defense did and what special teams did, they set the offense up for success in this game, Sterling. The offense made the big plays in the big moments to help them score points and win this football game. But man, what that defense did and what special teams did really set the offense up for success today.
I don't think, had you asked me, hey, Niners win, and they score 26 points against what looks like the best defense in football, and they hold Myles Garrett to 1 sack, and he had a good game, but it just still wasn't the Myles Garrett 3-sack dominant performance like it was against the Raiders a week ago. I thought San Francisco had one of their best games of the season. It was an all-encompassing, all 3 phases of the team went out there and won. You defense got takeaway, special teams got you field position, and the offense capitalized when necessary. And these are the games that have haunted Kyle Shanahan's teams in years prior. You go back to 2023. They lose a game in Cleveland. Now, that year didn't cost them too much, but they've lost these late season kind of clunkers on the road, cold. How's Brock Purdy going to perform? And they came out, and it wasn't pretty, but it didn't need to be pretty.
No.
They came out there, they won the football game, they played their game. They didn't have great run defense. We can add that in there,
yes,
but they got timely takeaways and did the job. You don't have to win pretty every single Sunday. They won ugly last Monday against the Panthers and won a rather easier game today against Cleveland, knowing the final score. And I think Niner fans should feel pretty pleased. Brock Purdy played so much better today. It might be his best game back, minus that Cardinals game 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, talking about this game leading up into it, I was talking about how if you're like waiting for Brock to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, like if that's what you need to be impressed by Brock, then you're going to have to wait another couple of weeks, because that's not happening in this game. Like,
it's not going to happen.
No matter how the game played out, it was not going to happen that way. But you're right. I felt Brock had himself a pretty good game. Now, we can also say your 3 touchdown drives were a 16-yard drive, a 32-yard drive, and an 18-yard drive. And it was because the defense and special teams. One, it was the long punt return by Sky Moore in the first quarter that set up the first score. Then it was the turnover on down/fumble on 4th and short by the Browns. That was a good stop by the defense, one, to even force that 4th down. A little bit lucky on the fumbled snap by Harold Fannin, but the defense made a big play in a big moment. And then the other one wasn't necessarily a great special teams play by you, but a bad special teams play by Cleveland. They muffed the punt. Darrell Luter, though, in the right spot, immediately recovers it. That gives you short field once again. But we can look even deeper, Sterling, into what happened on those drives. Yes, they were short drives. And yes, it kind of feels like scoring a touchdown in those spots is like par. Like, that's not amazing. It's what you should do. You should score touchdowns on those kinds of possessions, even when you're in an environment like Cleveland versus that defense. But on seemingly every big 3rd and 6, 7, 8, 9, the Niners converted, and they used those conversions to turn those drives into touchdowns. Otherwise, those might be field goals, and who knows, this might be an entirely different football game. The way the Browns' offense was going, the Niners are probably going to win this, even if they settle for more field goals than they ultimately did. But it truly was a 3-phase victory because the defense and special teams gave the Niners good field position, and the offense, although it was difficult, they took advantage and they turned those 3 into touchdowns.
Well, that's how you win games like this, when you know you're playing probably the best front 4, front 7 in all of football this year. You have the Grim Reaper and Myles Garrett haunting all your tackles on the interior of the offensive line as well. You just know that it's not going to be easy, that you're going to have to fight for every blade of grass against this defense. And if the special teams and the offense of Cleveland's going to make a mistake, we have to be able to capitalize. And I thought San Francisco, for maybe the holes you can poke in the offensive plan and the execution at times, I thought when Cleveland made mistakes, San Francisco made it a point to pounce on them. And you held a team that I know played the Raiders last weekend, and there's some hype with Shedeur Sanders. You held that team to 8 points. And that 8th point was because you had a 12th man penalty on special teams, which... Don't love that, but okay, whatever. You were almost down 8-7 at halftime, but you survived and you pushed on. But to say that, and if anyone's out there saying that, San Francisco didn't play great football, they scored the most points on this Browns defense in 3 weeks. They scored more points on this Browns defense than teams like the Steelers could, the Vikings could, the Packers could. Like, this is not the Rams. Like, it's not like the Browns are giving up 26 points per game. They walked into today giving up 15 points a game, and you scored 26. That is something to walk away feeling proud about and capitalizing on. And I think that, for a unit that looks so lost offensively against the Panthers, throwing 3 interceptions last Monday, to bounce back, turn the ball over 0 times, play a clean game throughout, that was the biggest difference maker in this game. And kudos to Brock Purdy and company to coming out there in Cleveland and holding the fort down for this team.
Yeah, I mean, you just had to win the game. It didn't really matter how it happened. You set it off the very jump. You don't need style points. It ain't got to be pretty. And you just have to win football games. You have 9 wins now. You are inching close to, obviously 10 wins and 11 wins. You feel really good about making the playoffs if you get to that 11-win number. Very likely going to be the case in the NFC. You get 11 wins, you're going to go to the postseason. The Niners have a game against the Titans off of a bye, and then you've got some tougher games the rest of the way. But you're looking at having to just hold serve with the Titans game and then win one of the final 3, and you're likely going to be a postseason team. So today was a really, really big step in the right direction. And we can talk about 26 points, most points the Browns have given up since yada, yada, yada. We can say this was a really good display by the Niner offense. I mean, they were good in moments, Sterling, but we also got to be honest that this was... The 26 points were not just scored by the offense. It was the whole team that was contributing to that. It was the turnovers. It was special teams. And this was, for the first time in quite a while, I think, where you could say all 3 phases of the game, none of them maybe had an A-plus game, although the defense was pretty close to that. It's hard because Shedeur Sanders is not a good quarterback, and the Browns are a terrible offensive team, and that was a game that was designed for defense more than offense, of course, given everything going on with the elements and what's happening in Cleveland. But this was a game where all 3 phases of the game played a positive game. They all carried their own weight. And when you get that, it doesn't really matter the talent level on your team. When all 3 phases of your team play better than the opponents on all 3 phases of their game, you're going to win football games. And that's the truest example, I think, of a team win. Today is a great example of what that looks like in an NFL game.
Well, I think more to that, it's kind of a testament to how important special teams is in the NFL. We saw how terrible this unit was last year and how much it cost a bad team a lot of close games that maybe would have changed their record last season. Then you're seeing this year how good a special teams unit can change the outcome of games. Sky Moore has just been a tremendous find. There's been some blips early in this season once he came over from Kansas City, but
last month though he's been really good. Yeah.
Like he's one of the best return men in football the last month or so, and he's constantly getting San Francisco into great field positioning. Where they go back to the 98-yard near kick return touchdown against the Cardinals, and today kind of sparking the offense and getting the offense started against Cleveland on a big punt return this afternoon. But Thomas Morstead too, man. Like the punts have been on point. He's been phenomenal today. Like you go from Jake Moody and Isaac Guerrero last year, and whoever else was Ronnie Bell doing punt returns, kick returns, like to Pinheiro, and now Matt Gay as the reserve kicker, and then you have Morstead and Sky Moore. This is a massive upgrade, and it's been a big reason why San Francisco's won their last 3 games, and the big reason why today against Cleveland, they were able to face that great defense and get a few punches in and kind of get the victory.
Yeah, absolutely. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM at HD1 San Francisco, and Odyssey Sports Station, always live on the free Odyssey app and now broadcasting from the Laughing Monk Studios. 888-957-9570 if you want to weigh in. It's overtime on 95.7 The Game. Sterling and I are back. We've had a couple of weeks off because of some Warriors basketball games that just happened to coincide with the end of Niner games, but we're back with overtime here on 95.7 The Game. And again, if you want to weigh in either over the phones or on the Boxer and Gerson Work Injury Attorneys text line, give us a call, shoot us a text, 888-957-9570. You can also join the conversation on YouTube, youtube.com/957 The Game. Everything we do on YouTube powered by First NorCal Credit Union. For a low-rate auto loan, apply online or just ask for First NorCal financing at the dealer. It is officially a final in Cleveland. Niners win 26-8. They are now on the season sitting at 9-4, and their odds for the postseason took a major jump with this win today. Let's go out to the phones and kick things off with Philmo Mike, who wants to react to this Niner win. What's up, Philmo? You're on overtime.
Hey, what's poppin'? Great win. I keep telling people, man, this team is a gritty team. It hits more than what meets the eye. A lot of our players are out, but they continue to play hard. Shasky, the Joes, I don't know what they be smoking. They be smoking some great weed because they always say Upton is not good, and our rookies haven't been playing up to par, and they have done nothing but keep proving the Joes wrong. And I wanted to know the significance of the Rams loss, if that has any playoff implications on anything, probably on the overall NFC thing, nothing with the NFC West. But nah, man, I'm proud of this team, one of the most proudest teams I've been. I said this earlier, they're a very fun team to watch. I was very frustrated. I thought Brock played horrible in the first half. That's just my opinion. I'm usually I don't get too caught up in how you play in the first half, but I just think that Brock, he wasn't doing enough, but obviously they got the win on the second half, and they executed a lot better. So I love this type of team. I love the Niners teams that they kind of stay below the radar. I hate when we have all the stars and all the players, and then we're the first thing they talk about, or one of the main things we talk about on Monday morning or Sunday morning. I like when they stay off the radar, a la Debo and Nick Bosa's first year. So man, great win.
Yeah, appreciate the call, Philmo. Now that team you're talking about, the 2019 team, they were off the radar to begin the year, but they pretty quickly were on the radar because they were the best team in football all of that season.
13-3 wasn't really off the radar at the end of the season.
They were the number 1 seed, and they dominated the NFC playoffs, barely even having to throw the football. Not really off the radar there. I get Philmo Mike's point. I think he's maybe talking more about like 2021 when they had to sneak into the playoffs, and they had to win road playoff games in Dallas, in Green Bay, and then they very easily could have beaten the Rams in the conference championship game down in LA as well. But there is something that is almost a little more rewarding, Sterling, for this kind of team. And what have they accomplished? They're not in the postseason just yet, but 9 wins out of their first 13 games. Considering all of the injuries they've dealt with, this is absolutely an amazing accomplishment. And there is something that is more rewarding from doing it this way because, I mean, I'm certainly one of these people, Sterling. I'm sitting here a handful of weeks ago once Fred Warner goes down in that game in Tampa Bay, and I'm thinking, well, I mean, might they sneak into the playoffs? Maybe. I probably wouldn't count on it, but even if they do, I mean, what's the point? They're going to get absolutely boat raced whatever team they play in the first round. Not saying that I'm picking them to win the NFC or anything crazy like that, but the fact that they've been able to win 9 games, and now, Sterling, they've won 3 games in a row, and 4 of their last 5, and 5 of their last 7, ever since the Fred Warner injury. I get that a lot of it is schedule-based, but, I mean, we're talking about only giving up 17 points in the last 2 games. Like, this is really, really impressive what this team is doing, and I think a lot of the credit obviously goes to the players, but then also it's Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh and just keeping this group together, because there were a lot of other rosters, Sterling, across the NFL that would have quit on this season already, and the Niners have not.
Well, to put it into context, right now San Francisco has 9 wins. That's tied for the most in the entire NFC and the second most in the AFC.
Yeah.
Yet they're the 7th seed in the wild card. And I know it's schedule-based and the bye week comes into play and all that stuff, but like the Niners right now are the second most winning team in football with 1 extra loss on the record because they played more games than most teams in the NFC right now, including the Rams and the Bears, and including the Seahawks who are on their bye week this weekend. And so it just like... enough cannot be said in regards to what Shanahan and Saleh have done. The mental fortitude to be able to push through without Fred, without Nick Bosa, without, half your pass rushing defensive line, Yetur Gross-Matos, Micah Williams, Samuel Kawanu didn't play today, and they still had 3 sacks against this Cleveland Browns offensive line, which they're not very good, but still, those things matter. And sure, you can point to, you play the Panthers, you play the Browns, and you play the Cardinals, and what does that matter? Well, it matters because you can win games like this. And I think San Francisco has shown that they can win a game by almost any possible way. Whether it's Brock Purdy throwing 3 interceptions and the defense getting 2 takeaways and stopping the opposing offense, or it's having a great special teams, which I wouldn't be shocked to see is ranked near the top in football in regards to punts and field positioning. And then you have an offense that can go out there and drop 42 on the Cardinals. Like, this team has shown you that, they're not perfect. They're going to make mistakes. They're young. They're going to blow a play or two. They're going to be behind at times, but they have found a way to win. And I think that, to me, is almost more impressive than teams like Chicago, like the Rams, like Philadelphia, that their rosters are still stacked, and yet San Francisco, maybe because scheduling, has almost the exact same amount of wins, or at least as close to them. And, it just goes into what Kyle and Robert are doing. Just great. Like, the coaching staff really should be coach of the year as a whole. That's how great they've been this year, and the young guys are stepping up, making plays. Upton Stout has had his 3 great games in a row. The coverage has gotten so much better, albeit against worst offenses, but still, like, they're getting takeaways, they're getting turnovers. Those things weren't happening early in the season. They were still winning games with backup quarterbacks and backup guards and third string wide receivers and practice squad guys. And this team just finds a way to win, and that, to me, should get the entire fan base rallied behind them, knowing that anything is possible on any given Sunday this season.
Yeah, no, it's been amazing. And just talking about like some of the other teams with 9 wins that you threw out, the Rams, you threw out the Bears. We're going to go to the phones in just a sec. You probably looked at it, Sterling, and you're a crazy football fan, so you probably already know this off the top of your head anyway. Do you know currently who the number 1 seed in the NFC is?
Probably Chicago with their victory against the Eagles.
The Chicago Bears are 9-3, tied with the Rams, but they have the tiebreaker. They are currently the 1 seed in the NFC, Sterling.
And the Bears have only beaten 2 teams this year with a winning record.
They're the 1 seed.
Come on.
They're the 1 seed in the NFC right now, sitting at 9-3, which is crazy. Of course, there's still a lot of football to be played. I would venture to guess the Bears will not be the number 1 seed when season ends, but you never know. We have seen crazier things. 888-957-9570. The Niners victorious today. They pick up their 9th win of the season. They're now 9-4. They beat the Browns in Cleveland 26-8. Defense, very good. Special teams, very good. Offense, did what they had to do. They were given short fields often, and they took advantage each and every time. Let's go out to Nick in Berkeley who wants to weigh in. What's up, Nick? You're on overtime on 95.7 The Game.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Man, that's a great win in Cleveland. We squeaked it out, got out of there, man. Our defense, the coverage was tight all game, and they ran a little bit early, but then our halftime adjustments. Saleh got the cheat code with our defense now, man. He's got everybody dialed in. And I like the way our defensive line is playing, man. Also, shout out to all those Rams fans out there. You guys aren't all that.
Appreciate the call, Nick. Appreciate the call. Yeah, I mean, the defensive line, Sterling, was pretty impressive today, too. I mean, they finished this one with 3 sacks. Cleveland Ferrell had 2 of them. Keon White had 1. There were multiple other hits of Shedeur Sanders. There were multiple tackles for loss. There was a lot of pressure put on Shedeur Sanders. I think as a team, Sterling, you talk about a performance by the defensive line. This is probably one of, if not the best performances by the Niners defensive line over the course of the entire season. I know the run game wasn't great. I guess maybe talking specifically about rushing the passer and making a quarterback uncomfortable. Hard to pick a game where I think the D-line was better than they were today.
Yeah, I think for a young quarterback in Shedeur Sanders who doesn't really see the field that well, for a quarterback that is in his second career start, it's almost licking your chops if you're Robert Saleh, saying, I have a young defense, but I got a younger guy across the line of scrimmage of my guys. And, it just favored San Francisco in that matter. And I think that they did a great job in coverage, kind of giving Shedeur nowhere to go. They know he's not going to take the flats and the checkdowns and stuff. And even when the Browns were doing screen passes, trying to get the ball moving into their playmakers' hands, I thought they did a good job tackling for the most part. There were some broken plays here or there. The running game, to me, was a bigger problem for San Francisco, but that's to be expected knowing you don't have 4 defensive linemen out there. But for how the game started, I thought the way they finished was much better because it looked really ugly in the first 3 quarters, but they kind of grow their lead, force Shedeur to throw, and I think they just didn't give him anywhere to go, and they overwhelmed him, and they know Shedeur is going to hold the football for a long time. So when you do that, that leads to sacks, and when you do that, it leads to wins. So I think most teams can see this game and say that is how you beat the Shedeur Sanders-led Browns team. He does not want to get the ball out quick, and that is a big Achilles heel of his and was a big reason why the Browns couldn't move the ball offensively in the red zone, especially for today's game.
Yeah. Let me ask you about this, and then we'll go back to the phones here in just a second. If you want to get in line, 888-957-9570 to weigh in. Again, that's 888-957-9570. I think what you mentioned, and based on how the defense closed the game, and specifically the D-line, they had maybe their worst moment of the game at the very end of the first half when the Browns went on a 10-play, 90-yard drive. Yeah. 9 of the 10 plays were runs. Now, there was a reverse mixed in there. There was a jet sweep mixed in there, but for the most part, they were 9 runs, 1 pass. The 1 pass was the last play of the drive, the 34-yard touchdown from Shedeur Sanders to Harold Fannin, the rookie tight end who's been really good in his rookie season with the Browns. But before that, Kyle Shanahan was left with a decision because the Niners are up 7-0. You're getting towards the end of the first half. You face a 4th and 4. Well, I guess I should jump back even one more play. First of all, it was a 3rd and 10. A 3rd and 10, you're at the Cleveland 44. You throw underneath to George Kittle. You get 6 yards to bring up a 4th and 4. And I think a lot of people are thinking, all right, in that spot, it felt like you might not have been going to try to gain the full 10 yards. Maybe that is setting up a decision to go for it on 4th down if you get a handful of yards, which they did, to set up 4th and 4 from the Cleveland 40. Shanahan decides to punt to try to pin Cleveland deep, play the field position game, maybe get a quick 3 and out, then get the ball back and try to score before half. Ultimately, you punt it. Morta does a good job. The coverage unit does a good job. You down the ball at the 10-yard line. And honestly, I think at that point, I'm thinking, all right, I want a little bit more aggressiveness at times, Shanahan, but understanding what is going on in this game, the way the defense is playing, the way the offense is playing, maybe just playing the field position battle is the way to go. They down the ball, but then Cleveland just runs right down the Niners' throat over the course of a 10-play drive. They get into the end zone with 39 seconds left. You then commit the penalty on special teams. They go for 2. They get it. They take a lead. And suddenly you're thinking, oh, my God, the Niners are going to somehow be losing going into halftime. They ultimately got the field goal on a couple of great throws by Brock Purdy at the end of that first half, and they take the lead. But my question for you, Sterling, and for the listeners, 888-957-9570, did you like the decision for Shanahan to punt on 4th and 4 from the 40, or did you want him to go for it and try to put points up right there?
I wanted Kyle to go for it. Now, I know in retrospect, you punt the football, you don't expect your defense to allow the Browns offense, which isn't that good and still isn't that good after today's game, to go 90 yards on you. But I thought you want to kind of go for the kill, if you will, early. And I think you want to keep that defense on their heels. And I know you're playing the number 1 defense in football. You can certainly rationalize punting the ball there, and I get it. But when you're 4th and 4 near midfield, I think if you're playing the Rams, if you're playing the Bears, the Eagles, like, you're going for it. You want to make sure that ball is in your hands. You want to play some keep away. And I would have liked Kyle to kind of trust his defense, and maybe in some way you can say, well, it burned them anyways, so why would you trust him on the drive? They give up 90 yards.
Well, I think punting is trusting the defense, right? It's saying we trust you to get a stop. They ultimately didn't, but...
Right, and I think there is a way to kind of rationalize it again where it's like, well, if we get a stop inside Cleveland's side of the field, we can get the ball back near the midfield anyways. Via punt, but for me it's like you have Brock Purdy, you have Christian McCaffrey, you have George Kittle, you have Jauan Jennings, you have your dogs you want out there, and it's like it's 4th and 4. What is 4 yards to this offense? Almost nothing. Now you're not going to get it on the ground, but through the air you can't do a quick out, you can't do what we saw late in the game. They were converting on 3rd downs and 4th downs at will, so I would have gone for it, I think, but no harm, no foul. That Brock Purdy and this offense saves him on the subsequent drive after the defense blinks, but I think I would have gone for it. I just think that this offense, you had to be aggressive here, and thankfully it wasn't a big big factor in the victory or not. But I want to see Kyle go for the ball more, especially against an offense I don't believe can move the ball a lot. Now, if this was a high-powered offense, maybe you don't want to give Stafford the ball at midfield, but I don't know, like I wouldn't trust Shador in the Browns offense to go 90 yards, nor would I trust those guys to go 50 yards on my defense having a good game. So you can leave it or take it, but I would rather gone for the ball and the first down there.
I do think Kyle Shanahan has shown a bit of evolution this year in terms of his aggressiveness on 4th downs. This, I think, was less of a lack of belief in the offense, and it was more just a circumstance of this game, which was, 1, Cleveland's defense is scary. 2, this is a game where maybe we win with, 13 points, and Cleveland only scored 8. And it's crazy. Their 8 came on the drive where you pinned them down at the 10-yard line, which is crazy the way that this game went. So I can understand it from that perspective. I don't think I can be that upset from that decision based on the circumstance of this game. But I will say, as you laid out, if that's what you do against the Rams or against the Seahawks or against the Bears or someone like that, then I think I reserve the right to be upset, because that, in my opinion, would not be the right decision in those moments when you desperately need to maximize the number of points that you score. Today wasn't really that game. 888-957-9570 if you want to weigh into this Niner win as they knock off the Browns in Cleveland 26-8. They're now 9-4. They have as many wins as the Rams do atop the NFC West. The Seahawks are in action right now against the Vikings in Seattle. It's 0-0 about halfway through the first quarter there. The Seahawks are 8-3. The Rams are 9-3. The Niners are 9-4. Up next is Gene in Oakland who wants to weigh in. What's up, Gene? You're on overtime.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Yeah. I want to start by slightly going against what Phil Mike said about Purdy. He didn't have a bad game at all. I think he had a good, solid game. I mean, his QBR rating was down in the 80s, but he didn't make mistakes. He didn't turn the ball over. He didn't make poor decisions as he did last week, trying to force passes, and he made the plays when he needed to. So overall, I'm really encouraged by what I see as a comeback game for Purdy. I was down on him quite a bit last week. Meanwhile, the 4th and 4 play, I didn't have a problem with that. Once again, as you say, did you expect Shador to go 90 yards? And a lot of the problems in the first half with our linebacking core. Keep in mind, we're working on the third stringers at this point. So, Salah had to go into the locker room and think, how do we handle this? So he took one of them out and they put White in, and that seemed to make a difference. He also changed up schemes a bit. All in all, Salah, if he isn't a hands-down best assistant coach of the year at the end of this year, I'll be shocked. And frankly, Shanahan should get some consideration for coach of the year. I love the way he handled the last drive before the half. In the past, he would tend to be too conservative. This time, he said, "I'm going for a score," and he did it. So all in all, I'm very encouraged. I think everything's up in the air at this point. We took care of Carolina last week, and Carolina took care of the Rams this week. So, it's hard to say week to week what's going to happen. Anyways, I like our chances from here on.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate the call, Gene, and good call. 888-957-9570 if you want to add to that. To go back to what Gene started his call with, and it was a callback to what Philmo Mike said. Philmo said he thought Purdy had a bad first half, and then he said he was much better in the second half. I'm glad you brought that back up, Gene, because I forgot to talk about that after Philmo's call. I wouldn't say that Brock had a bad first half, Sterling. I think it was just he wasn't asked to do all that much, and he didn't really have much of an opportunity to show the way that he was playing. Maybe you say that's Brock's fault for having struggled in games kind of like this in the past, but I don't think it had anything to do with the way that he was playing. I think he played just fine. It's just he wasn't really asked to do all that much in the first half, and when he needed to throw the ball on a 3rd and 8 to move the sticks and to keep a drive alive, which then eventually turned to a touchdown, he did just that. It more so happened in the second half than in the first. But by the way, the end of the first half, the drive that Gene's talking about after the 90-yard drive by the Browns, Niners get the ball back with 39 seconds left. They go 58 yards in 39 seconds in 6 plays, and really they did it in like 3 plays because the first 2 plays of that drive were incomplete passes. Then it was big chunk, field goal, and you take a lead going into the second half. So again, if you went into this game expecting or needing 300 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns from Purdy to be impressed, then you were not going to be impressed. It didn't really matter how he played. This game was never going to be that. But I thought, given what he was asked to do, Brock Purdy was very, very good today, Sterling.
Yeah, I thought Brock was great today. I thought that after you throw 3 picks against the Panthers and you have the fan base questioning, do we go back to Mac Jones? You have some of the fans at Levi's Stadium on Monday Night Football asking, hey, we got to boo this guy. Something has to change, and you have to play better. If you play that bad again, we're going to lose games. And I think there was a collective fear, whether you like Purdy, you like Mac Jones, doesn't matter. There was a collective fear walking into this game that if Purdy does that again, and what he's done in 3 of his 4 games, now 3 of his 5 starts this year, they are going to lose against the Browns. That's a great defense. They want to hit you. They want to get takeaways. And the Browns defense still played fairly well today overall. They just got let down by their special teams unit. But I thought Brock was great. He didn't take chances downfield unless he absolutely had to. He was really good on 3rd downs today. He ran around, bought some time, and more importantly, threw the ball away.
Yeah.
Don't force throws downfield if you don't have to. A lot of the chances he took were towards the sideline. They were deep downfield where there was no safety up over the top. And it was like, that is what you want Brock Purdy to do. Now, sometimes the games dictate that and what you can do and what you can't do. But I thought Brock was great today for a wild, reckless performance against the Panthers. This was a more refined, in tune in the offense, in rhythm Brock Purdy. It wasn't perfect, but I thought he told Cameron Wolfe of CBS Sports, I owe my guys one after that one against Carolina. I thought Brock today played a very nice kind of take care of the football, take your shots, and kind of, how do you word this? It was almost like I have to selectively take my shots downfield. And he did it, and it worked out for them. And I think that's what you want from Brock Purdy going forward the rest of the season.
Well, it's just understanding what the game called for, right? You don't play this way. One, the play calling, but 2, Brock's decision making. You don't play this way when you're taking on the Rams. That's just because you have a different path to victory depending on the opponent and the situation. And the path to victory today was pretty simple. It was just don't turn the ball over. If you don't turn the ball over, you're probably going to win this football game because you trusted your defense, despite all the injuries, against that Cleveland offense to hold their serve. They're not giving up 25 points in this game. If you just play solid football, you win the turnover battle, you don't make terrible mistakes on special teams, and you, again, don't turn the ball over, you will win. So it was, take what the defense gives you kind of game, which I think is what Brock needs to do a little bit more in general every game that he plays. But specifically in this one, that was the game plan, and it was executed, I think, nearly perfectly by Brock Purdy and the Niners offense to the tune of 26 points, although a lot of it was, again, thanks to their offense or their defense and their special teams as well. Okay, let's take a break. It's overtime on 95.7 The Game. Sterling and I with you until 3 o'clock today. If you want to chime in, shoot us a text, give us a call, 888-957-9570, as the Niners beat the Browns 26-8. They're now 9-4. They got some help from the Panthers in terms of the NFC West race because the Panthers beat the Rams. The Rams now 9-3. The Seahawks currently battling Max Brosmer and the Minnesota Vikings. Starting at quarterback, I believe, for Minnesota. That's a scoreless game. 3.5 left in the first quarter up in Seattle. We'll keep you updated on that score throughout the afternoon as well. But it's overtime. Time for a break. When we come back, more time for your calls and a whole lot more on this Niner victory. Grandy and Sterling with you. Overtime continues next on 95.7 The Game.
You're watching him trying to catch these punts in pregame, and it was an adventure. From the 18, here comes Moore. Finds a sliver on the move. Can he get by Bojorquez? The stiff arm. Here comes the chase. Coming down the near side. They've got Njoku, who is over there along with Whiteheart, chasing Moore. It was a punt of 48, a return of 66. And look where the Niners will be at the 16 of Cleveland.
Now back to Overtime. Instant reaction to the game with Mark Grandy and Sterling Bennett. We are the Bay Area's football station. 95.7 The Game.
Yes, we are. Welcome back. It's Overtime. That's Sterling Bennett. I'm Mark Randy. Niners victorious in Cleveland tonight, or today, 26-8 the final score. Niners now 9-4 on the season. We got time for your calls as we continue on. 888-957-9570 if you want to weigh in. What'd you think about Brock Purdy? What'd you think about Sky Moore? That punt return you just heard Kevin Harlan of CBS call. What about the defense? Robert Saleh, the job that he's doing. Kyle Shanahan, what he's doing. Plenty of things to dive into. Before we do that, though, Sterling, one thing that's in my head, watching this Niner win and then over the Browns, and then also having seen what Cleveland did last week, how bad are the Raiders? Because this Cleveland team in Vegas won 24-10 versus the Raiders last week. Then the Niners go to Cleveland, and the Niners win 26-8. Cleveland, their offense, my goodness, that is a disgusting offense to watch. Yet they somehow scored 24 points against the Raiders. How bad are the Raiders?
Pretty bad. The record may not say it, but the Raiders are probably the worst team in football.
Yeah.
And it's shocking knowing who's leading the charge, Pete Carroll and Tom Brady out there in Vegas. And it really isn't shocking, though, that they fired Chip Kelly after, 11 or 12 games, being the highest paid offensive coordinator in football, and is getting play calls wrong and calling plays that aren't even on the install during games. And it's just a disaster out there in Las Vegas. And so this is what the game should have looked like last Sunday against Cleveland, and the Niners are just a better team as a whole, and I think they've proven that throughout the season, that they just find ways to win against good teams. They've beaten the Rams, they've beaten the Seahawks, albeit early in the year, but now they have and can kind of boast beating the number one defense in football and scoring 26 points against them, albeit with some really good field positioning thanks to some punt returns and some mistakes by Cleveland on special teams.
Yeah, the Niners had 5 scoring drives, 3 touchdowns, and 2 field goals. Their scoring drives were the following. They had a 6-play, 16-yard touchdown drive. They had a 6-play, 58-yard field goal drive. That was the one at the very end of the first half. They had a 9-play, 32-yard touchdown drive. They had a 6-play, 18-yard touchdown drive, and then they had a 9-play, 29-yard field goal drive. So some, big amounts of plays, large amount of plays, but not many yards in the majority of their scoring drives. 4 of their 5 scoring drives, Sterling, were 32 yards or fewer. The only one that was more was the 1-minute drill at the very end of the first half, where despite it being by far their shortest scoring drive of the game, they went the most yards with 58 yards. But a 16-play or a 16-yard drive, a 32-yard drive, an 18-yard drive, and a 29-yard drive. Those were all scoring drives, and 3 of the 4 were touchdown drives, which just goes to show how good special teams and defense were setting the Niners offense up consistently from one half to the second half. All the same. They were great, really, for 4 full quarters in this one.
Well, you think about it, San Francisco did today what the Panthers couldn't do against them last Monday.
Yeah, good point.
Carolina had 2 takeaways on San Francisco's side of the field, including a drive starting on the Niners' 16-yard line. They couldn't get it in the end zone. So, look, if a team, whether they're better than you, worse than you, the same as you, doesn't matter, if they're going to make mistakes like that, you have to find ways to capitalize. And I think San Francisco, for a team that, they've gone through so much turmoil with the quarterback stuff and the injuries and on offense and defense and whatnot, and they've had so many tight games at the end of whatever regulation, overtime stuff, doesn't matter. They've been through it all basically this season. The way their offense is finding a way to operate when the defense or special teams gets the ball back, I think should be applauded, because a lot of teams can't do what they're doing. And to me, it shows you how good the offense can be. And quite frankly, they're getting nothing from Demarcus Robinson. They're getting nothing from Pearsall, who I think has 3 catches in his last 3 games. And I love Ricky, but it's like, where you at, brother? Like, what's going on out there? You look like the next coming of, the top receiver in San Francisco through the first 4 games of the year, and now you haven't been a factor much, but it's basically been the Purdy, McCaffrey, Kittle, Jennings show, which is never a bad thing. You saw how good it can be today and good the last couple of weeks, but they aren't even really running at full potential yet, which to me is, again, a bigger reason to applaud the performance today against the Browns defense. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the offense has been McCaffrey, great. Kittle of late, very good. Jauan, pretty solid. And it's just that's been enough for those 3 skill position guys, and it's been almost nothing from anybody else offensively for the Niners for quite a while. And it's not just new to the last couple of weeks. It's been that way for quite a long time for the 49ers. And you could even take a couple of games before Kittle were back where the receiver that was effective was Kendrick Bourne, for example. And it was Kendrick Bourne and McCaffrey. And that was basically it offensively, along with, at that point, the quarterback was Mac Jones. So it's been a really weird offensive year for the Niners. And right now they're getting by with a good skill position player at all 3 spots, one at running back, one at tight end, and one at wide receiver. And the quarterback has been very good in 2 of his 3 starts, most recent starts after coming off of an injury. Of course, we know what happened on Monday night versus the Panthers when he threw 3 interceptions. Could have easily been 4 or maybe even 5 in that first half alone. But they found ways to win football games. And at this point in the season, it doesn't matter how you get them as long as you get them. And the Niners have now gotten 9 of them, and they're 9-4. Okay, let's go back out to the phone lines, 888-957-9570 if you want to weigh in. Niners knock off the Browns in Cleveland, 26-8, the final, and the Niners 9-4. Not only are they now only a half game behind the Rams for first place in the NFC West, if you win the NFC West, Sterling, you will have an opportunity to be the 1 seed in the NFC. Like, let's not forget that. We're talking about the NFC West being up for grabs. That, by default, also means the 1 seed in the NFC is up for grabs. Not going to sit here and say I think it's going to happen, but if we're going to talk about the NFC West, then we got to talk about the 1 seed in the NFC as well, and that's pretty crazy. James in San Mateo is up next. What's up, James? You're on overtime.
Hey, you just explained my point. It does matter how you get the wins. You just said it doesn't matter how you get the wins as long as you get the wins. The Niners motto used to be the faithful, right? Montana, Young. And then I started waning. I went from the faithful to the hopeful with Alex Smith. And then I went back to the faithful with Kaepernick. Now I'm back to the hopeful. Okay, the best player for the Niners today was the Cleveland special teams, okay? It does matter how you get the wins. Yes, a win's a win, but that leads you to more disappointment in the playoffs. Get your hopes up. If it wasn't for Cleveland and, really 3 picks from Purdy last week and we still won, it does matter with I'm embarrassed kind of yes, we won, but, I'm embarrassed. We won, but what does that happen when we start playing good teams in the playoffs? So all of a sudden, we're not going to
But they've beaten good teams this year. They beat the Rams in overtime 26-23. They beat Seattle all on the road at home.
James, hang up.
They haven't. Yeah, look. Let's be honest here. The Niners are not worthy of the number 1 seed. They're there because the Rams lost today and Seattle's playing Minnesota, and they've won 9 games, and they put themselves in a good position because they're beating who's on their schedule. However, I guarantee you, most Niner fans would say, on the road in Seattle, week 1, I don't know. On the road against the Rams, week 5, I don't know. They've beaten good teams. The Browns' defense is one of the best in football. This team beat the Packers early in the season. And most people think the Packers are Super Bowl contenders. Now, I'm not saying San Francisco is that. They had too many elite guys off the field. But to sit here and say, well, I'm embarrassed because San Francisco won a game on the road in Cleveland, which they hadn't done since 1984?
Yeah.
That's nuts. What are you talking about? You lost to this team 3 years ago in a year in which you went to the Super Bowl. That's embarrassing. Oh my God.
And their quarterback was P.J. Walker, and I don't believe in Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders is better than P.J. Walker.
Right, so it's don't be embarrassed. I get it. We have to have realistic expectations. I do not believe this team is a Super Bowl contender. They are in contention for the NFC West lead because the Rams lost today to the Panthers, in which, I may add, Matthew Stafford turned the ball over 3 times.
But also,
one of those being a pick six, and one of those also being a game potential winning drive fumble.
Yeah.
Like, the Rams should be embarrassed today, not the San Francisco 49ers or their fans. You did something you hadn't done in 4 decades almost. You should be proud of today's win. Was it perfect? No. Was it great? No. But you won a game on the road in Cleveland, which you hadn't done in 4 decades. You've won 3 games in a row. You're in contention for a playoff spot. Why are you embarrassed of that? I get it. It's not, you aren't the Rams. You aren't Philadelphia. You're not making trades at the deadline. You have so much dysfunction behind the scenes and Ayuk and the quarterback stuff. But you're 9-4. But despite all those things, be proud of that. Be proud of that.
Yes, you're 9-4. You said you're in contention for the NFC West because the Rams lost. Yeah, the Rams lost. They're 9-3. Like, to be in contention with a team that's 9-3, you got to be pretty darn good yourself. And maybe you think the Niners 9-4 isn't like a real 9-4.
Sure.
NFL
That's
standings
fine.
do not care. As long as you have the right amount of wins, you're going to be in contention to win your division. Maybe, hell, even be a 1 seed, 2 seed, whatever it is, or at least make the playoffs. All that matters is that you rack up wins. Now, it's up to you to set the appropriate expectation. It's up for you to manage your emotions and manage the hope that you have. If you say, well, if the Niners have 9 wins through their first 13 games, that automatically means to me they're going to win the Super Bowl. If that's how you think, that's on you, brother. Like that's not on anyone else. The Niners won these football games. Somehow, some of them, like I still don't really know how they beat the Seahawks. I don't really know how they beat the Rams in LA. The win over Cleveland was odd because their quarterback could not have played much worse through really the first half, but over the course of the whole game, honestly, that I think statement is true for the whole game as well. Yet they won. As a result, they're in contention. The Rams lost today. Like, put it, for example, last year, Sterling, when the Niners were so bad, made all of the small mistakes. If the Rams had lost in Week 13 last year, guess what? It did not matter because the Niners were not close enough to make it matter. The Niners are close enough to make it matter. And I don't care if you think the Rams are 10 points better than the Niners. They're only a half game better than the Niners right now. Not sitting here telling you I think the Niners will win the NFC West, but they're a half game back. And the fact that they're there, it is absolutely ridiculous because we can look on paper, and this maybe is the caller's point, we can look on paper and say they are nowhere near the team the Rams are, but we see this in the NFL all the time. A team comes out of nowhere, catches fire, and who the hell knows what happens in a playoff game? It happens all the time in the NFL.
We've seen this very iteration of the 49ers, albeit not with the injuries they have, be 3-5 and 4-4 and go to the NFC title game. And I know they have Fred Warner. Those teams had Nick Bosa. And like we're both saying here, the expectations should not be set that high as to going to the Super Bowl. Like, that's not what I think is going to happen this year, albeit it'd be great to see happen, especially in front of your home crowd at Levi Stadium. But I think we have to realize you may not have to play the Rams again. You may not have to play one of the best teams in the NFC if you go to the playoffs. You may get lucky. You may play the Buccaneers on the road. Give me that rematch. My mind would say, yeah, Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, and a healthy offense can go into Tampa Bay and beat Baker Mayfield. Like, that's a really good chance. Give me Green Bay. They're one of the more inconsistent football teams in the entire league.
Don't believe in Green Bay. Oh, man.
It's like Philadelphia right now lost to the Bears and the Dallas Cowboys. Like, I know we get caught up in, well, the Rams have this and the Rams have that and the Seahawks have this. Sure. But you can only play who's in front of you. And to go back to the caller's point of being embarrassed by a victory, it's not like San Francisco squeaked things out via a game-winning field goal and turned the ball over 5 times. They got 2 takeaways, they played clean football offensively, and they capitalized on the opposing team mistakes. Take the Browns out of the equation. If you do this every single week, you'll win almost every single week. Now, that has to happen, but this was a very good game by San Francisco. Was it perfect? No, it's not going to be perfect. Run defense has to get better. Like, the offense, you'd like to have longer drives, hold the football for longer, less 3-and-outs, but when the opposing team makes mistakes and they can capitalize, that's winning football. Now, can you translate this in 2 weeks against the Titans? And can you play the Colts and the Bears and the Seahawks to end the year and play good football? We'll see. But as of today, San Francisco is 9-4, going into a bye week, a much-needed one where They may get Samuel Kawanu back, which probably doesn't move the needle too much, but maybe a little blip up. Yeah. Maybe get Yichiro Matos back, who before he got hurt was one of the best interior pass rushers in football. Like, those small things matter, and if you can push it further enough, maybe you get somebody big back. I don't know whether Fred comes back. You saw him on the video yesterday out there doing some stretches, looking pretty good. Maybe Fred comes back if things get nuts and crazy. Maybe Brandon Ayuk pulls his head out of his own rear and he comes back. I don't know. Like, anything could happen. But you're 9-4 and you're in contention for NFC West Championship. Why would you not be somewhat proud? The Rams today feel terrible, as they should. They let a game get away.
Well, I mean,
they saw the Panthers lose against San Francisco, and we're like, that's a terrible team. We're laughing at Carolina. Oh, their offense stinks. The offense put up 31 points against the Rams defense, who those Rams fans think is a top 5 defense. They should be ashamed of that game.
Just look at the Panthers. Just look at the Panthers' last 2 games. They get stinker performances from both of their opponents' quarterbacks, right? Brock Purdy is a stinker on Monday night.
Yeah,
Matthew Stafford, a stinker today. So both teams against the Panthers have their quarterback play terrible. The Niners win by 11. The Rams lose by 3. Like, I'm not here to say the rest of the Niners team better than the rest of the Rams team if you take away the quarterback. The Rams have so much talent on defense. They have probably the best wide receiver duo in the NFL in Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. Devontae is just a touchdown machine, and Puka's one-handed catch today on the left sideline was absolutely incredible. They are a great football team, and it pains me to say that. But, I mean, their quarterbacks put up a stinker versus the same team in consecutive weeks. The Niners won by double digits, and the Rams lost. Like we just got this text that came in on the Boxer and Gerson Work Injury Attorneys text line, and shout out to the 650. This is the perfect point. These are the kinds of grind-them-out games that the Niners lost last year. Absolutely. Yep. Like, the Niners lose to the Panthers last year. They lose to the Browns last year. They won both of them. At the very least, it's a sign of major progress, and you're doing it with defensively way less talent. Way less talent on the defensive side of the football. Offensively, you're more healthy, for sure. But you're still not majorly better offensively just based on talent than you were last year as well. You're still without Ayuk a season ago at that point for the majority of the season. Like, I don't know, Sterling. I'm having a hard time feeling anything but proud that the Niners have absolutely proved me wrong almost step after step after step this season, because I must have wrote them off for dead like 4 separate times. Yet here they are, a half game out of the division lead in the best division in football.
Well, and had you felt embarrassed leaving the Panthers game, the offense didn't play well, Purdy throws 3 picks, you question how far can this team truly go? And you're not playing a great Panthers defense.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, sure they can get some takeaways, but in reality, they aren't on paper at least one of the best teams in football defensively. And then you say, oh, here comes Cleveland on the road, snow, maybe rain, maybe bad weather, and you're playing Myles Garrett, and you're playing that vaunted front seven and that defense that has somehow kept the Browns in so many games, and that defense deserves to be a winning football team. And you get scared, you get nervous, and then you do this today, and it's like, well, I mean, man, like, why wouldn't I want to at least buy in? The callers called it hopeful. Okay, yeah, I'm hopeful they can be better as the year progresses and as games go by, and I'm hopeful they can play an opponent that's beatable and they can maybe win a playoff game or whatnot. But I'm also faithful that this team has a chance every single week. And that, to me, is the difference of last season, where last season you just knew, oh gosh, you're on the road and you're playing the Rams, good luck, game's over. You're playing Seattle, good luck, it's just not going to happen. Whereas this year, I knew at least this team has a fight in them, that if they're playing the best team in the NFL, no matter who it is, the Patriots, the Rams, the Seahawks, it doesn't matter. They're going to fight their tail off till the end. They may not win. They may not win by a lot, or they may lose by a ton, but they're going to fight for 4 quarters. And they may not have the dogs in the race, but they're going to fight. And that, to me, is the biggest difference, because games like this make me want to buy in more, not be embarrassed or not say, you know what, my foot's off the gas on San Francisco. It's like, no. Put some money on San Francisco to win the division, because it may happen. Only half a game behind, Mark.
You know who the Niners have a better record than, Sterling? Let me just read off a bunch of teams. The Niners have a better record than the Buffalo Bills, than the Baltimore Ravens, than the Indianapolis Colts, who were the talk of the NFL for like the first half of the season, than the Philadelphia Eagles, than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they got some technically ties with teams like the Seahawks who haven't played yet this week. So the Niners have one more win and one more loss. But you're talking about a better record currently than all those teams I just listed. The Buccaneers, the Eagles, the Chiefs as well, the Colts, the Ravens, the Bills. A better record than all of those teams. And you will say, well, the schedule. Compare the schedules of those teams. And that is totally fair.
Yeah,
but again, it does not matter. We're not comparing, are the Niners a better team than the Chiefs? Are the Niners a better team than the Eagles? That's an entirely different conversation. When you get to December, Sterling, and we're now a day away from December, we're less than 12 hours away from December. When you get it to December, schedule out the door. All that matters is what is your record, because that's what determines playoff positioning. And by the way, what's your record in division and in conference? The Niners are 4-1 in division and 8-2 in conference. They're going to win a lot of tiebreakers if it's not just head-to-head related and they lose to, say, whoever they might play. Maybe if they lose to the Bears, right? That's going to be a big game down the stretch of the NFL season for both teams. Yeah. But the Niners are in a spot where, just based on their record, schedule forgotten about at this point, they're in prime position to claim a playoff spot at the very, very least. And possibly, they control a lot. If they just win a few more football games down the stretch, they might win the division, which I would have thought would have been impossible once Fred Warner went down.
I think on top of that, today's win, more importantly, you also gain separation from teams like the Lions, who are right behind you for the 7th seed.
The Lions, too. I didn't even mention the Lions. Yeah.
It's like you have 2 games in the Lions, who right now, if things ended, would not even be in the playoffs. Nobody would have said that before the year began. Lions were, if not the NFC North favorite, people were picking them to go to the Super Bowl. And it's like, the Lions should feel bad. The Lions are sitting back well, our season might be over if we don't figure things out quickly offensively, and Dan Gamble stops going for it on 4th down inside the opponent's 10-yard line. Kick field goals, Dan. You win games by making field goals. It's not that hard. But the Niners right now are in better position than so many other teams that in the preseason, a lot of people considered contenders. The Ravens with Lamar Jackson. The Niners are better right now than the Ravens, and I get Lamar's X factor, but if you told me Niners play Ravens tomorrow, I would probably pick San Francisco. And I don't think you'd say that normally throughout the year. Joe Burrow, that season's over. He hasn't played most of the year, but that season's over in Cincinnati. The Niners have themselves in a phenomenal position, beating teams who again, maybe aren't great. That doesn't matter. You can only play who's in front of you. And if you continue to win games and you find yourself 9-4 near the end of the season or 1 month to go, you're going to see San Francisco what they're made of when they play the Colts, the Bears, and the Seahawks. And if everything goes really well, Week 18 might not even matter, which would be great. In those rivalry Nike jerseys playing meaningless football. Wouldn't that be phenomenal? But I just think Niner fans should hold your head high.
Absolutely.
You hadn't won in Cleveland since 1984.
Do you remember how just miserable we were last year? I don't need to go out of my way to find more reasons to be miserable, especially about a team that's 9-4. Life can be tough enough, Sterling. I'm going to celebrate all the victories, no matter how small or no matter who they're against, even if they're against the worst team in the NFL. I'm going to celebrate that.
Yeah, there's so much to feel upset about nowadays. Why would a Niners win make me feel bad?
Exactly.
Oh, man, Niners won, man. I'm just not having a great Sunday. No, we're partying over here. 95-7 the game.
It was the Browns. It was Shedeur Sanders. It was a bad team, and Brock only threw for, 168 yards. We need more than that. We need to win by 40.
Shut up.
Okay, I will. We got to take a break. When we come back, we'll hear from Kyle Shanahan. He addressed the media post-game in Cleveland. Plus, more time for your calls and your texts. 888-957-9570. Let us know, Niner fans. Give us a call. Shoot us a text. Join the conversation on YouTube. The Niners are 9-4. Does it matter to you that they're still probably not a favorite to advance deep in the postseason? Does that matter to you at this point? Or are you just enjoying 9 wins through 13 games, now a bye week, then the Titans? This could very easily be a 10-4 team 2 weeks from now. So are you just enjoying this, or are you worried about what the postseason might hold? give us a call, shoot us a text, 888-957-9570. It's overtime. That's Sterling Bennett. I'm Mark Randy. We're back with more. One more hour to go after this right here on 95.7 The Game.
Question. Does it encrypt your online traffic the same as NordVPN?
No, but it protects your device. Just pop that CD in and you're good to go.
But it will stop your internet service provider and other snoopers from monitoring you online, right?
Oh, no, not really. It won't stop online snoopers or block annoying ads. In fact, forget what I said at the beginning of this ad. This ad is now about NordVPN. I just realized that an antivirus is only half protection online. So get better online protection with the NordVPN Black Friday deal. It will encrypt your traffic, protect you from malware and phishing, and stop annoying ads. This Black Friday, get NordVPN with 73% off and enjoy 3 extra months. Yeah!
Catch comedian and actor Nick Offerman when he comes to the Bay Area with his Big Woodchuck Tour at the Masonic on February 7th. Buy your tickets at LiveNation.com. And for a chance to win a pair of tickets courtesy of Live Nation, enter online at 957thegame.com.
Black Friday weekend is here. Once a year, you get the lowest prices on the top-rated brands of TV, Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs at stupid prices. You don't have to buy a no-name doorbuster TV with poor picture when you can get a good one for a few dollars more. Where's the best place to shop for these top brands? At Video Only, the only place where you can get better than Black Friday deals on Samsung, LG, and Sony. Better than clubs, better than online. Before you buy, check out the deals at Video Only, because if you don't, you'll be sorry.
Comcast Business is celebrating the holidays by giving your business the $1,000 holiday bonus when you switch to a gig-speed internet package. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 12, a new laptop for the office holiday hero. Or possibility number 108, smart speakers to deck those hallways. Or possibility number 192, new equipment for the new year. Or possibility number 555, Bluetooth holiday lights for office decor. Switch to Comcast Business, designed for 100% reliability with business internet and wireless connect, plus advanced cybersecurity, and now get the $1,000 holiday bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 12/14/25. New customers only with 2-year agreement. Requires qualifying gig package. Other restrictions apply.
Hi, I'm Brian Bakhtiari, Executive Manager of Stevens Creek Subaru. The holiday season is a time of giving, and for the 17th year in a row, Stevens Creek Subaru wants to give back. From now until January 2nd, get a great vehicle and support a great cause. Because with every new Subaru purchased or leased, Subaru and Stevens Creek Subaru are donating a minimum of $325 to charity during the 2025 Subaru Share the Love event, happening now at Stevens Creek Subaru. And if that's not enough, buy or lease any new Subaru from Stevens Creek Subaru until December 31st and receive 2 Sierra at Tahoe season passes from Stevens Creek Subaru. So you get a great deal on a new Subaru, get 2 free season passes to Sierra at Tahoe, and help some great charities at the same time. It's a win-win-win at Stevens Creek Subaru. Located on Stevens Creek Boulevard near Santana Row and Valley Fair, or online at StevensCreekSubaru.com. StevensCreekSubaru.com. And remember, buckle up and drive safely.
Pros don't just show up. They prove how it's done, with precision and without shortcuts. Makita tools are built the same way, with a dedication to lasting quality, trusted performance, and results that reward your effort year after year. When the job calls for the best, call on Makita. Built to be the best. Available at the Home Depot.
Red and Gold Game Day starts at Laughing Monk Brewing. Park for free. Enjoy amazing food, ice-cold beer, and every game on TV. Catch 95.7 The Game's pregame show. Then hop on the free shuttle straight to the stadium. Sign up now at 957thegame.com.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEB-NOW1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union.
Here they only have one tight end in. 3rd and goal, McCaffrey. Touchdown! Got in there. All set up on a 66-yard punt return by Sky Moore. A 1-yard touchdown run for Christian McCaffrey. And they cash in on what was a terrific return by Moore.
Now back to Overtime. Instant reaction to the game with Mark Grandy and Sterling Bennett. We are the Bay Area's football station. 95.7 The Game.
Welcome back. Niners victorious in Cleveland today, 26-8. The final score. That highlight you just heard, Kevin Harlan, courtesy of the NFL on CBS. The call of a Christian McCaffrey 1-yard touchdown run. That made it 7-0 Niners after the 66-yard punt return by Sky Moore. Special teams was good. The defense was good. The offense capitalized. All that together is a Niner win. They're now 9-4. It's overtime on 95.7 The Game. That's Sterling Bennett. I'm Mark Grandy. Sterling, I want to get back to the Niners coming up in just a sec. I do want to ask you, though, do you happen to have an eye on what's going on at SoFi between the Chargers and the Raiders? Because there is a certain player that took a couple of steps in this game that Niner fans will remember. His name is Trey Lance. Because Justin Herbert went out with what looked like a left hand injury for like a drive. He's back in now, but Trey Lance was in and was moving the ball against the Raiders defense, Sterling.
Get him in San Francisco. He's the future, Mark.
Get him back.
It's the only solution.
Get him. When they trade away Mac Jones this offseason, get Trey Lance back to be the backup. That's the solution. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah,
let it happen.
Justin Herbert is back, and the Chargers are about to go up by 2 scores over the Raiders. Meanwhile, we just had a score in Seattle. The Seahawks now up 10-0 over the Minnesota Vikings. An 85-yard pick six by the Seahawks defense makes it 10-0. The quarterback for the Vikings is Max Brosmer. Their rookie or their second-year player, making his first handful of starts as a pro. This year, J.J. McCarthy is out. Carson Wentz was previously ruled out for the season. Max Brosmer is the current quarterback, and he just threw an 85-yard pick six. Vikings have a double-digit lead. Final 3 minutes of the first half there. We'll keep you updated on that score. With a win, the Seahawks would be 9-3. The Rams are 9-3. The Niners are currently sitting at 9-4. The Niners now enter their bye week, a chance to get healthy, rest up, and gear up for Cam Ward and the Vikings coming up in a couple of weeks. You want to hear from Kyle Shanahan, Sterling?
Always.
Always? You fired up to hear from Shanahan? He's going to talk about some injuries. He's going to talk about the way the defense played and the special teams played. Hopefully it's a happy Kyle Shanahan. We've heard a lot of angry Kyle Shanahan over the last couple of years, but we're going to get some happy Kyle Shanahan, I hope, here.
What's the over-under on ums and buts in this press conference?
Oh, ums and buts. I mean, that's got to be like at least like 25 of them.
Take us back to the night show a couple years ago. Dan Devone, Alan Stiles doing the Shanahan, butt Kyle Shanahan segment of how many ums and buts he had. What's the over-under? 25 maybe? 20?
Something like. Are we counting both ums and buts or just one or the other?
Oh, yes.
Ums and buts. Sure, I'll set it at 25.5. Are you taking the over or the under, Sterling?
He's probably a little cold, so I'm going to take the over.
The over? Okay, over 25.5 ums and butts.
Don't listen to what he's actually saying. We're all going to count the ums and butts at home, okay, guys?
All right.
No one cares what the actual content is. This is real sports radio for you.
All right, here's Kyle Shanahan addressing the media post-game in Cleveland after the Niners knocked off the Browns. Another Niner win. They're now 9-4 on the year. They beat the Browns 26-8. Here is Kyle Shanahan post-game in Cleveland.
All right, guys, injuries from the game. Nick Martin had a concussion, never returned. Ben Barch left with a foot, didn't return. And Juice left with ribs, did not return. Go ahead. No. They didn't show anything broken here, but check again tomorrow.
What do you think this game seemed to turn in the third quarter, maybe on that fourth down stop where they launched the snap?
Yeah, I mean, we knew it would be this is actually how we kind of expected today to go. We were really hoping we could get some turnovers, not turn it over on offense. We're hoping for some big plays from special teams, which we got the huge one with Sky on the return, got a huge one on the turnover. I looked at it as almost our D got 3 turnovers, so I think we got them off on 3 4th downs. When you play that way, just eventually you're going to get the points, and we did. So I was real proud of the guys for not turning it over and getting into some of those situations.
First several plays you had, Brock on the move, rolling out, and he seemed to be moving pretty almost kind of pre-injury form. Has he talked to you, or have you sensed that he's just further along since he's returned with that injury?
No, the week he came back, that he was 100%, and we haven't been worried about it since with any movements or anything like that.
You have said he wasn't going to be healthy until the offseason.
Right.
Okay. Is that not true?
No, we're allowed. He can do boots, and he does those fine. So anytime he runs, I mean, he's doing all right. So.
On the broadcast, they said that he hadn't wearing a steel plate in his cleat, but he isn't anymore. Is that correct?
Those are questions I don't ask him, so I'm not even sure.
Did you happen to catch his touchdowns over there?
I did, yeah. I thought it was pretty good. He told us he was going to do that if he scored, told the team. So we had pressure on him to do it, so he couldn't let them down, so it was nice.
Was that the first time you ever called his own read for him?
I don't think so. No, we've caught a few.
Kind of after they scored at the end of the first half there, how important was it for Kittle to make that catch and then get down there and get down?
That was huge. We were almost not going to go for it. Just going into the wind like that with 37 seconds left, the odds of, with their pass rush, making something bad happen seemed a little bit higher than going and scoring, but Ricky made that big 3rd down, got us down there. Throwing that go route in the wind like that, just going into that way, that was a big-time play by Brock and a huge catch by George.
Jordan and Malik getting in on that 4th down stop in the first, how'd that set the tone for your defense?
I mean, I thought the D was setting the tone all day, really. I mean, they got that one score with the double move. I think they ran it, felt like 9 plays in a row, set it up and got that score. And every drive after that, man, I thought our D was real good. Made some adjustments at halftime, did better in the run game, I thought, in the second half. But 4th down was the big, as good as turnovers when you stop them on 4th down.
Anything even specific you can share about what you adjusted, especially in the run game?
I think going to more 5-man fronts and nickel.
How impressed are you with Clee coming in here? He's got 4 sacks in 4 games.
He's done a hell of a job. I mean, we loved having Clee here a couple years ago when we had him. Since his first day here, he's been the same guy. He's given us a lot of juice when we've been down.
When you're facing Myles Garrett, obviously you got Trent there, but it seemed like Brock was able to sense him and get away from pressure a couple times. How do you guys do against Myles?
I mean, he's a challenge. I mean, it's someone you're thinking about every single play. You think about him throughout the week when you're trying to game plan. He moved around a lot more than usual today, which made it a little bit tougher. We weren't perfect against him, but I was proud of the guys, how we handled them.
What was the latest buy you could possibly have going through? To be 9-4 at this point, what is just kind of your assessment of where you guys are going into?
I love where we're at right now. I mean, I believe we'd be in the playoffs today if it started, and we got 4 more games left to make sure we continue that. It's been a long wait for a bye week. I've never had one this late. I don't know anyone on our team who has. It's finally here, mentally and physically. It'll be awesome to rest and then be able to come back from that with 4 games to play for a chance to get in the playoffs is everything we could ask for.
What do you give? Do you give them a whole week? Or
No, we'll come in for a couple days. We'll do a day after a game tomorrow. Probably do a little bit of workout on Tuesday, and then we'll decide from there.
First half, it looked like Sanders had a couple of long completions, including a touchdown at the end. And second half, just a matter of turning up the pressure on them?
Not really. I just think we got them up. We stopped their run better in the second half. We had them backed up on that one long drive, but I think they ran it, I'm just guessing, like 10 times in a row. And they had a double move set up, and we didn't come off in a certain coverage and left a guy wide open. After that, though, I thought we we put him in some worse situations, had him in some 3rd and longs, and when it's 3rd and long, it's tough to get guys past the chains, and that's when our guys stepped it up and got some sacks.
What do you think of Sky Moore is giving you really the last 3 games?
I think Sky's been awesome. We keep saying he's just, you can feel him for a while now, getting better and better. Every time he gets the ball, we feel like he's got a chance to go. And our goal this week was to score on special teams, which he got real close again. But as long as you end up scoring on offense at a big one, then it doesn't matter. So I told him thanks for allowing the offense to get those points. But that was huge in this game.
Luke Gifford said this week, I felt like the special teams that they've talked about, they feel like they can be a weapon now, not just kind of placeholding. Do you feel like they are taking a step in that direction?
Yeah, definitely. I think they have been a weapon. Probably at least this last month. I mean, both returns. Whether it's a kick return or whether it's a punt return, we made some big plays in that, and we made some big plays at some important times too. The biggest challenge today, what we were saying with the special teams, was we were hoping to get some big plays, but also not make any dumb plays with penalties and things like that. And we had one, which ended up giving them a 2-point conversion, which was disappointing. But besides that one, I think we were pretty clean the rest of the day.
All right, that's Kyle Shanahan post-game in Cleveland. For those of you, I just said it's contagious, apparently. For those of you that are counting Kyle Shanahan's ums and buts, I don't know if we're supposed to count the uhs either. I counted 38, so it was an easy over of 25.5, and that's not even counting the uhs as opposed to the ums. So this was an easy over. But welcome back. It's overtime on 95.7 The Game. I don't know, Cam. I don't know if we got an issue with Sterling's connection. Just try to get that figured out with Sterling. But Kyle Shanahan talking post game there, talking about a whole lot of that Niner performance. He talked about the way the special teams set things up, and he said the goal of the Niner team was to try to score on special teams in this one. Yet they were close to doing it. It's interesting the way that Kyle Shanahan laid that out and the way that the Niners went into this game planning, because it's not often that you score on special teams, and that legitimately being a goal for you in a specific game that's a pretty big goal. And the Niners were very close to doing that. And now, over the course of the last 3 games, you've been really close to scoring twice on special teams. Sky Moore took the opening kickoff in Arizona all the way down to the 1 or 2 yard line. And then the next play, they punch it in on a McCaffrey touchdown, and they take a punt in the first quarter of this game, 66 yards, and they take it all the way down the 49ers do, or Sky Moore does, to the 16-yard line. Then 6 plays later, it's a Christian McCaffrey 1-yard touchdown run, and the Niners take a 7-0 lead. Those go down as offensive touchdowns, but really, those were scores that were set up by special teams, and special teams becoming a strength of this team is something new that gives the Niners team a new look. And we welcome Sterling back as we figured out his connection issue there. Sterling, I'm just reacting to what Kyle Shanahan said about the Niners special team strength and how he predicted, or their goal was to score a touchdown on special teams. They technically did not do that, but they set it up on special teams. A 66-yard punt return by Sky Moore led to that first touchdown of the game. What last year was for the Niners was bad in so many different aspects. Maybe the guilty party number one was the special teams. It becoming not a weakness anymore, but legitimately a strength is a big reason why the Niners have 9 wins. Because so many of the games that they lost last year that were coin flip games were lost because of just one moment here or there on special teams. Now those moments are leading to Niners points and to Niners wins, and that's a big reason why we're sitting here after Week 13 with the Niners sitting at 9-4.
Yeah, sorry, I got lost counting the ums and buts of Shanahan's press conference.
Don't worry, it was an easy
mark.
over. Yeah,
upwards of 40.
Yeah.
But yeah, special teams has been just a pleasant surprise. Obviously, Brant Boyer coming over with Robert Saleh from the Jets, and I think you saw against the Cardinals, you saw today against Cleveland, the ability to just, with the new kickoff rules they have in place, especially now, to not get the ball at 35-yard line, 40-yard line, to get the ball in the opponent's 45, opponents 35.
Yep.
Sky Moore's a weapon, and I think that the more dangerous you can make this offense, the better field position they can be. Like, I know we talked about, kind of, not to say like negating the offense's success because of how the field positioning worked out in their favor, but it's like we should be praising special teams for getting the ball back or giving them the ball in opportune field positioning. And I think, Sky Moore, 2 big returns against the Cardinals and today against Cleveland. Brian Robinson against the Giants in that game. The Niners are right now, I think, one of the more dangerous special teams units in football. And that's insane to say for how bad they were last year. Yeah. The worst unit in football now, I think, one of the best. And I think Kyle, I don't know if he would agree that he still doesn't want to really talk about it or care about it, because you're seeing how important it is. So I'm hoping Kyle can somehow change his ways. And more importantly, how great has Brant Boyer been? I know Saleh gets praised and how much Kyle gets praised, but Brant Boyer deserves so much credit for turning this unit around in the span of one offseason and 13 weeks. You don't go from dead last to top 5 and overnight and without having a great coach, and Brant Boyer deserves so much credit. He should get a raise by far. One of the hardest working men in football, turning the worst unit into one of the best in San Francisco.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Shanahan, this has been a quote that a lot of people, use to kind of make fun of Kyle Shanahan or maybe point out as a reason why special teams have struggled for the Niners of late, when he says, I don't like to think about special teams. It's not because he doesn't think it's important. It's because he thinks his time is better spent elsewhere. And in an ideal world for Shanahan, the special teams coordinator and everybody involved with that can take care of their business themselves. And Kyle Shanahan will trust them to do that, which therefore leaves him open to use all of his time and his energy on offense, or maybe a little bit here and there on defense, or whatever the case is. But of late, he's had to worry a little bit more personally about special teams, and maybe that's taken away from a little bit of what he can do on offense. And having a good special teams coordinator, Brant Boyer, in there, getting a good kicker in-house. Jury's still out on Matt Gay. He made both his kicks today. The one that was a chip shot at the end of the first half, he doinked in.
Doinked it in, yeah.
Now, that was the rough end of the field. The broadcast was talking about it all day. That was the side of the field that you did not want to kick into, whether it was a punt or a field goal or even a throw. You don't want to throw into that wind. But still, he doinked that one in. Nothing to complain about, really, in terms of points gained or lost via special teams because of Matt Gay. It's interesting, though, if you are a little bit more pessimistic, Sterling, and sometimes this is the way my brain works, you see the success that the special teams is having this year. You see the success of Eddie Pinheiro off the street signed, and maybe the same thing goes for Matt Gay. It just goes to show the delay with which the 49ers made these special teams decisions with, one, not firing Brian Schneider years ago and not moving on from Jake Moody a long time ago. What are you doing? How could you have possibly continued doing that, considering what the alternatives were? And maybe Brant Boyer wasn't available until this offseason, whatever the case is. It honestly doesn't even really matter if Brant Boyer was available. It's just the fact that one coordinator was here and it was that bad, a new coordinator was here and now it's good. You would think almost any other coordinator could come in and just not be worse. I don't need to go down the road of wondering why they waited so long to make those decisions, Sterling. I'm just glad we're finally at a point where they did, and as a result, the Niners are reaping the benefit. Because had they not done that, who knows? They might have only 6 wins instead of 9 this year.
Well, I think it just goes to show that Niner fans weren't asking for great, they were asking for average. And they were below average every single year, whether it's Jake Moody or the unit itself, that being special teams. And now they are so far above average that it's actually helping them win games. I know last year it was can you just not cost us? Can you just play fine enough and make a tackle and not miss a kick? Can you just not be the reason we're losing? And this year, it's a big reason as to why they're winning. I think that matters, and it should go into in the conversation as to how San Francisco has 9 wins. Yeah, you can point to the offense, the defense, this, that, and the other, Mac Jones' performances with Brock Purdy out and whatever. But Brant Boyer's group and the change on special teams has been a major factor. We talked about it early in the year. Kicking matters. Now you're seeing it. Return game matters. Punting matters. How many great punts has Thomas Morstead given San Francisco's defense? I know today gave him a darn good one, and the defense couldn't answer the call, but you'd rather have your defense starting drives inside the opponent's 10-yard line than on their own 35 or on their own 40. So Thomas Morstead, I know he's 39 years old, but maybe you don't want to retire like you said you were going to, because you've been really good this year for San Francisco. And I think special teams cannot be forgotten into the grand scheme of things as to why San Francisco is even in contention for the NFC West title this late into the season, because if it was last year's group, this team maybe has, 6 wins, 7 wins, and they're kind of clinging to life, and maybe they've lost games earlier in the season against the Cardinals and the Saints and whatnot, maybe against the Rams too, but special teams matters, folks. They really matter, and you're seeing it this year, and I think they deserve credit as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have a caller that wants to talk about special teams as well. If you want to weigh in, give us a call, 888-957-9570. Steve in New York wants to give some kudos to the special teams units as well. What's up, Steve? You're on overtime. What do you got?
Hey, fellas. I just want to say over the last 3 to 5 games, I've noticed a big difference in the special teams, and I really believe that today was the day that seeing them against Cleveland, they have a decent special teams force as well. We did really well against them today, and I think that's going to propel us forward. I also had a question, based upon the weather and whatnot, I was expecting to see McCarthy doing a little bit more. What did you expect to see out of him, and did he exceed your expectations? Thank you for the call.
Really quick, Steve, who do you mean by McCarthy? Do you mean McCaffrey?
McCaffrey.
Gotcha. McCaffrey. Appreciate the call, Steve. This was not a McCaffrey game. He had 20 carries for 53 yards. He had just 4 catches for 21 yards. I say just. That's a pretty good number for most running backs. For McCaffrey, it's way below average. I thought today was a game for more McCaffrey in the passing game, just a lot of dump-offs and easy completions that way. The weather turned out to be, I don't think, quite as bad as I was expecting it was going to be. This is also a really good Cleveland rush defense and defense in general. I think from a yard perspective, Sterling, I wasn't all that surprised by McCaffrey's day. I just thought he was going to be involved a little bit more in the passing game, and maybe he would have gotten a few more touches in that regard. I wasn't all that shocked. This just came to me as a game that was likely going to be a depressed offensive game. That's largely what it was. McCaffrey, though, still finished with 24 touches and 84 yards and a touchdown. For most running backs, it's a pretty good day. For the standard McCaffrey has set, it is subpar, but that's less about today being bad and more about the rest of the season just being amazing from him.
Yeah, I think, the Niners' run defense has been trending upwards as of recently against the Giants, the Cardinals, and against the Panthers, and you've seen McCaffrey's stats kind of jump up because of that. But this game looked like exactly how it did to begin the season, which isn't what you want, but knowing who you're playing, you'll take it. Now, you'd love to be Quinshon Judkins and getting 4 yards a carry, and Dylan Sampson getting 5.8 yards per carry. And however, you give the Niners the Browns defense, and I'm sure they're putting running backs to about under 3 yards. So that seems he was fine. He made a lot of guys miss in the open field today. He beat Myles Garrett. He made a couple of guys just kind of look foolish out there. And I think you're seeing Christian McCaffrey, even if the stats don't show it, I think he actually has shown more rhythm, or at least more ability to make guys miss. Whereas early in the year it was like one hit and he's down. He's not really fighting for much. He's getting 32 touches a game. Where now he has 20 for 53 yards on the ground. It's like that wasn't a stat line you would expect week 1 through 5. And now you're seeing it against one of the best run defenses in football. And I don't know, man, it's like Christian McCaffrey to me just continues to be the epitome of efficient and the epitome of consistent. Like every single game you can pencil in 25 carries, 70 plus yards, and 1 touchdown, it feels like now. And I think every offense would take that. Was it perfect? No. Was it great? Really, no. But I just think they play a smart game. They grinded a win out, and I think Christian McCaffrey's a big reason why.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a big reason why. And he might not have had the biggest day in terms of yardage, but he also converted a number of very big plays in this game. Think back to the first scoring drive where he scored the touchdown from 1 yard out on 3rd and goal. Remember the 3rd and 8 conversion from the Cleveland 14-yard line. What was it? It was a throw over the middle to a wide-open McCaffrey for 12 yards all the way down to the 2. I thought for a moment there he might get all the way into the end zone on that play, but that's a big 3rd and 8 conversion through the air to Christian McCaffrey. So I didn't think it was a crazy subpar game from McCaffrey. His touches were condensed because this was a game that was condensed on an offensive point of view, an offensive perspective. He was going to have fewer opportunities in general, but a lot of his opportunities and his touches were in the big moments, and more often than not, it felt like he did help the Niners convert in those moments. We can talk more about that on the other side, plus we got to hand out game balls for the offense and the defense. Maybe we should do it for special teams as well, because special teams is now turning out to be a major plus. Obviously, kick returner and kicker are easy ones to give out every day. We can talk about that as well. Plus, more time for your calls and your text at 888-957-9570 if you want to weigh in. It's overtime with Sterling and Grandy. We got one segment left. If you want to get in now, because we're off the air coming up at 3 o'clock. Until then, more time for you and thoughts on this Niner win. Final score in Cleveland, 26-8. Niners now 9-4. Overtime continues and wraps up next right here on 95.7 The Game.
Hey, folks, this is it. The best weekend of the year for buying a TV. Forget inflation, because now you've got deflation with Black Friday pricing on top-rated brands like Samsung, LG, and Sony. Where's the best place to shop? It's not the clubs or online. Join the smart shoppers heading for video only, because they've got better than Black Friday deals. That's right, better. Don't believe it? Then bring your prices to video only and compare before you buy. Or you'll be sorry. At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In Mountain View, San Mateo, Union City, Dublin, and San Rafael. Video Only.
Imagine being the wizard of your own home. With Xfinity, intelligent self-healing Wi-Fi fixes problems like magic. It boostifies speeds to your devices when you need it most, and makes your favorite Wicked content sparklify on every screen. All while a spell of protection helps keep your family safe online. When you're out in Oz, Xfinity Mobile joins Wi-Fi and 5G to keep your phone connected from here to the Emerald City. If you had the most intelligent Wi-Fi from Xfinity, everything would work together for good. And now you can cast a spell to stop time and keep your internet bill steady for 5 whole years with the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. No contracts or commitments, with amazifying equipment included. Xfinity, imagine that. And see Wicked for good, only in theaters November 21st. Restrictions apply. Select plans only. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet.
Food, family, and football. It's Thanksgiving, but your takes don't need to take the day off. Make some cash with them at DraftKings Pick 6, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Just pick more or less on a couple player stats and ride your read. Hit your calls, and Pick 6 turns a good read into a big return. And if you're new to Pick 6, DraftKings has you. Get $50 in Pick 6 credits with your first $5 entry. Trust your read and make it pay. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THEGAME. That's code THEGAME. Play just $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Make the call. Ride the upside in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Ends December 2nd at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
After doing it all, a Lazy Boy recliner takes you from zero to surrounding you with the comfort you deserve. And right now, it's the perfect time to kick back during Lazy Boy's biggest Black Friday sale. Save 30% on everything, plus free delivery. Visit your local Lazy Boy store today.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast!
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
250 years ago, a promise was made to connect families and friends near and far.
And during the holidays, that promise is more important than ever. That's why USPS is building a better network to meet your needs with timely deliveries, easy and affordable ways to ship, and everything you need to make your season full of holiday cheer. Our purpose is delivering your peace of mind, knowing your love will arrive, bringing joy to all. The United States Postal Service. Learn more at USPS.com/holidays.
Catch comedian and actor Nick Offerman when he comes to the Bay Area with his Big Woodchuck Tour at the Masonic on February 7th. Buy your tickets at LiveNation.com. And for a chance to win a pair of tickets courtesy of Live Nation, enter online at 957thegame.com.
This is the sound of Claire, cooking dinner at home. And that's the sound of a fraud alert from Wells Fargo, flagging a charge for a pricey restaurant in Paris. Considering Claire isn't in Paris right now, that seemed odd to the bank and to Claire. 2 taps later, Claire says nope to the charge, and Wells Fargo is on the case. However you make money work, Wells Fargo can work with that.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
One timeout, 1st and 10, going deep into the wind and looking for Kittle. Broken up on the play. Hickman.
Oh, they're calling catch.
They're going to call the catch.
And then ripped out at the end. They're winding it so that here they get a timeout.
All things inside 2 minutes review. There's Kittle. Got the ball. Knee down.
He's down. Yeah, that's a catch.
Robbins in the back. 3rd and 9. And caught inside the 5. That's Kittle. Grabbed on the play by Hickman. What a throw on 3rd and 9. Gain of 14. 1st and goal, Niners.
Now back to Overtime. Instant reaction to the game with Mark Randy and Sterling Bennett. We are the Bay Area's football station. 95.7 The Game.
Couple of big George Kittle moments right there as called by Kevin Harlan of the NFL on CBS. That first one was a 33-yard completion, final seconds of the first half down the left side. It looked like it was incomplete, but Kittle caught it, hit the turf. He was down by contact. Then the ball got ripped away. Set the Niners up at the 7-yard line with 4 seconds left. They called their timeout, then got the field goal, took a lead. Here is George Kittle on that reception at the end of the first half.
It's either, we call it a Spartan, and it's basically just like a box fade, wide and go. Guy was playing outside leverage, which is usually not a good thing, but he just kind of opened the gate. And we broke through that into some hard wind. And it was just, I was really happy he just gave me the op on it. I think if there was no wind, I think that was a really easy touchdown. But, it's fun to just work for that plays. To get that and then to have a doink kick go in, huge from the momentum. I mean, how about Matt? Just stepped up and made every kick that we've needed him to since Eddie's been out. So huge fan of him. He's definitely earned a slap on the back.
All right, there's George Kittle postgame. That really was a big moment, Sterling, because the Niners just gave up a 10-play, 90-yard touchdown drive, also a 2-point conversion thanks to a special teams penalty. You don't really dominate the first half, but you led the entire way just about. You had the momentum. You're up 7-0, but now you're looking at going into the second half trailing on the road in Cleveland, not great conditions, and you're facing a 3rd and 10 with 27 seconds left, still from your own 35-yard line, because your first 2 plays of that drive were incomplete pass to Jauan Jennings, deep left side. Then Purdy was pressured, escaped, threw the ball away. 3rd and 10, 27 seconds left at your own 35 with 2 timeouts. I don't know where your mind goes. My mind goes, I might consider running it on 3rd and 10 to either force Cleveland to call a timeout or just kill the rest of the clock in the first half. They throw it. Pearsall, left side for a 13-yard catch and a first down. Then Jauan Jennings, a slant over the middle for 12 yards. That's at the Cleveland 40. Then you call a timeout. Then the deep shot that George Kittle's talking about and that you heard coming back from break, 33 yards. Down to the 7, you kick the field goal, you go to half with the lead, 10-8. I mean, pretty remarkable turn of events because it was give up the touchdown, 2 incomplete passes. You and I are thinking, all right, let's go to half down 1. They get the score. They take the lead, and it was boom, 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 those 3 plays. Pearsall, Jennings, and then the big one to Kittle. That was a big moment.
It was demoralizing to be up 7-0 almost the entire first half and then be down 8-7 in a flash because your defense can't stop the run, and you get called for a penalty, which gives them a pretty easy Wildcat score, and you're just like, well, this sucks.
Yep.
Like, this is Cleveland. this is the tomfoolery in which things have gone the way in the past of playing in Cleveland of like something just has to go wrong here, right? And thankfully, with 39 seconds left, Purdy and Shanahan and the rest of the offense answered the call where you're right. On third down, I was saying this is going to be Kyle being conservative, not wanting to push things.
Yep.
There was, I think, a little bit of hesitation from myself, at least, where it's like Purdy threw 3 picks last week. Is this where the big one comes into play because he forces a pass and creates a mistake? But no, to their credit, 3rd and 10, completes the Pearsall, gets out of bounds, which is really important there.
Yep.
Stops the clock. And then Jauan Jennings, 13 yards over the middle, and then a big 32-yard pass to George Kittle, which, maybe there's a kicking controversy to be had if Eddie Pinheiro comes back. I don't know, but it's just good stuff there. I think like that drive to me was why I can't agree with the caller all the way back in I think the first hour of the show, first segment if that's the case, of saying Purdy didn't have a good first half. Because wasn't great, but like seeing these clutch throws back to back to back, third down, big play to get you chunk yardage, where against the Panthers, he was like 2 for 9 on passes, 10 plus yards with 3 picks. Then he hits 3 passes back to back to back of 10 plus yards and get you in scoring position to kind of end the first half with the lead. It's a big thing because if you think about it, the Niners took the ball first. The Browns could have easily doubled up on you.
Yep.
They have momentum. They're feeling themselves. So it was a big swing there from the offense to help get momentum back on your end. But also to get some points on the board, which I know at the end of the game, 3 points didn't matter that much, but at that point in time, you're down, you're losing. So you go into the halftime losing, and Purdy doesn't play well, or you feel like you're kind of stuck in the mud. A lot could have changed, but good on Brock and company getting things done.
Yeah, it's interesting what you brought up. I haven't mentioned it yet, and I'm frustrated that I haven't yet, because this game began but with the Niners winning the toss and taking the ball, which never happens under Kyle Shanahan. I thought it was strange, not that they did it, because I do think given the strength of the offense and the weakness of the defense, when you compare the two units, then it makes more sense if you can maybe get the ball first and you try to score early. And maybe that helps out your defense as opposed to potentially being down early, although they ended up not scoring. What I thought was strange was the play call to begin the game, because they go play action boot, and they throw to Juszczyk for 23 yards. Another play action boot to the right, incomplete. Another play action boot, this time to the left, but it's covered, and he has to run back to the right and dump it off to McCaffrey for 1 yard. Then 3rd and 9, of course, you're forced to throw. No one's open, just kind of throws it away, intended toward Kittle, but incomplete pass. You ran 4 plays on that first drive, and they all were passes, and the first 3 were play action boots, which... Purdy, can move, and I think his legs were a big factor in this game today.
Yes.
I mean,
read option touchdown.
Crazy. I mean, I love the play call there. Everyone is expecting, I think, much like the first touchdown, either a McCaffrey run or just a straight-up throw, but you call a Brock Purdy read option, and he reads the edge defender who comes crashing in, trying to tackle McCaffrey, takes it along the left side, easily sneaks into the end zone. But, you got a quarterback who's dealing with the turf toe. Multiple people have said he's not 100%. There's a question of whether he has a steel plate in his cleat or not, yada, yada, yada. And the first 4 plays are, all right, we're not only going to throw it, but Brock, we're going to send you out on a boot, and you're going to have to run. Now, he looked largely fine running, like you compare it to what Lamar Jackson looks. Lamar looks nothing like the normal Lamar. He is still clearly hurt. Brock might not be 100%, but Sterling, his legs were a big factor in this game. It's also why I can't get behind the idea that Mac is the better quarterback for this group, because when both are playing well, Brock and his legs just add another dimension, and he must have avoided like 4 or 5 sacks just on the backs of his legs alone, and those extended plays kept drives alive, kept the Niners moving the football at times. I thought his legs were big, and Shanahan clearly not shy about using them, because, again, the first 4 plays from scrimmage were all Brock on the move.
I'm pretty sure on the broadcast for the television on CBS, I think they said, like, of 26 dropbacks, Purdy was pressured 20 times or 16 times, and he's only sacked, I believe, once, maybe twice at most today, and it wasn't...
I'll check for you.
And he was taking hits, but it's like Brock's legs were a major factor. Like,
just
you watched
once.
that game...
Myles Garrett got him that one time when he snuck inside on Trent Williams. Yeah.
Which he did get Trent pretty good there.
Yeah.
But if Mac Jones is playing quarterback, there's probably 4 sacks in this game. It was a lot of pressure, and Purdy's legs, I think, did a great job negating Myles Garrett for, I know that first drive, Garrett was the problem on that sack he was, but for the amount of pressure Cleveland got, they left empty almost every single time minus the 1 sack. So Brock's leg's a big reason why San Francisco won extending plays, and simply just, even if there wasn't a big play to be had or a small completion, simply avoiding a big loss via the sack and also throwing the ball away while you're escaping the pocket. So Purdy's legs matter a lot. Not having a lame duck quarterback that, may have a good release, but can actually move, can change the entire outcome of a game for you. And I think Purdy's legs do that for them. And whether it's 3-option touchdown or whatnot, it just adds another element to the offense that just hasn't been there when Purdy is not playing quarterback, whether it's Lance or Jones or Garoppolo or the other 19 guys that backed up Brian Hoyer in 2017. I don't know, just you can name anybody. Mobility changes the NFL. Yeah. And Brock's legs do that for that.
Absolutely. He was sacked just once. It was Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett, though, did have 3 quarterback hits on Brock, and the Browns as a whole had 7 hits of Brock Purdy in this one. That's a good amount. The Niners, by comparison's sake, had 6, so it was relatively even from a quarterback hit point of view. The Niners did have 3 sacks. The Browns just the 1. A lot of that is Purdy and his legs. You got to give credit to the offensive line as well. They weren't amazing. Now, this was their toughest task in quite a while. I thought they held up pretty good in pass protection for the most part. You're going to give up hits to your quarterback with this defensive front that you're blocking against. I also think a lot of it was just simple game plan stuff from Kyle Shanahan, and I kind of think back to how the Niners at times have neutralized Aaron Donald. I know it's different because Donald from the interior and Myles Garrett's on the outside, and he's going up against Trent Williams and going up against your other tackle on the right side, Colton McKibb. It's a little bit of a different, obviously, setup there, but a lot of it was the quick passing game. But when the Niners needed a long route to develop, like you can count up all the big 3rd down conversions, 3rd and 8 on the first drive, the throw to McCaffrey over the middle. There was a 3rd and 10 conversion late in the Pearsall one that we just talked about, late in the first half. That was a long developing route. You needed time to throw that. There was a 3rd and 6 on an out route to Jauan Jennings early in the second half. There was a 3rd and 8 late in the third quarter and a completion to George Kittle for 14 yards all the way down to the Cleveland 4-yard line. There's more that I could keep bringing up as well. When the Niners needed time to give Purdy and the receivers enough time to work and to make themselves available on those routes beyond the sticks, the offensive line stepped up and did the job in those moments. So the lack of sacks, it's a credit to Purdy's legs. It's a credit to the game plan by Kyle Shanahan, and it's also a credit to the offensive line because I think largely they were pretty damn good in this game.
Also helps to be able to have a quarterback that can utilize play action, do bootlegs, and just be able to kind of shift the pocket one way away from Myles Garrett a lot. And you even saw Kyle early try to get McCaffrey throwing a ball towards the end zone to Kittle, and it didn't work out. But you saw some trickeration there. You saw an end around or a jet sweep to Demarcus Robinson to Pearsall. There was some creativity in trying to negate that Cleveland pass rush, who has just been so dominant all year long. And I think if you told Niner fans that their offense in total yards would have 252 total yards offensively, but 161 of those would be passing and just 91 were rushing, I don't think we would be there's no way. There's no way it's going to happen. Meanwhile, the passing offense was the bigger reason why they won the game. Touchdown to Jauan Jennings, some big plays at the end of the first half, and I think that this passing offense is, to me, the bigger threat than the running game. And if you have Purdy that can move around, it just makes him more dangerous. And I mean, quite frankly, we haven't talked about him much in recent weeks, because we haven't had shows, but Jauan Jennings has just been tremendous last 5 games or so. I know there was so much dissension early in regards to the contract stuff and the holding out and the injuries he had, and yelling at Kyle on the sideline and revealing more injuries to the media, and there was just kind of an ick factor towards Jauan Jennings. But in his last 5 games, dating back to the game against the Giants to now, 23 receptions, 246 yards. Doesn't sound like much, but but he has 4 touchdowns, and he has 4 touchdowns in 4 of their last 5 wins. So JJ, I know there's been a lot of stuff happening there, but he's been a big factor into why this offense is finally kind of getting their groove as the years progressed.
Yeah, going back to the game in New York versus the Giants, so early November, so essentially the month of November, 5 games in November. He went 4 catches, 41 yards and a touchdown, 6 catches, 71 yards and a touchdown. That was the loss to the Rams. And then the last 3, beginning with Arizona, 4 catches, 54 yards. Went over Carolina, 5 catches, 41 yards. And then today, 4 catches, 39 yards and a touchdown. Also a touchdown against Carolina. I forgot to mention that. It's not like blow you away numbers. It's not like across the NFL wide receiver 1 numbers. But it is wide receiver 1 numbers for the Niners right now. That's the way that it is. And you add in George Kittle and then also what McCaffrey is doing through the air. And that adds up to a pretty decent passing attack. And Jauan has been great. In so many of those yards, like today it was 4 for 39. On Monday against Carolina, 5 for 41. I mean, how many of those yards are after contact? Like almost all of them. The dude breaks 4 tackles every time he has the ball. And he had a big, the touchdown was on 3rd down. We talked about some big 3rd down conversions. Today his touchdown was on a 3rd down. The guy has been great. And you're right, there was the awkwardness, and it was more than just awkward to begin the season. But he's been really good of late. And he's been the go-to wide receiver target for Brock Purdy and even for Mac Jones towards the end of Mac Jones's stretch as the Niner quarterback before Brock Purdy came back, kind of by default because Pearsall was hurt, and now he's back, and he hasn't really gotten involved in the passing attack all that much of late. You mentioned earlier, Demarcus Robinson has almost been a 0 for the entire season, and you don't really have a lot of other legitimate receiving threats on this roster right now with Ayuk's injury and the awkwardness and dissension there as well. So kind of by default, Jauan has had to be that guy, and he's stepped up and he's passed that test. I mean, I don't know where they'd be over the last month without him.
He's also one of the best at getting under the opponent's skin. You saw him against Carolina take a shot to the little JJs, and you saw today in the post-game press conferences in the locker room for Cleveland, some of their players were not very happy with Jauan Jennings, and one of them, I think it was maybe Shelby Harris, said, there's a reason why Carolina took a shot at him late in that game on Monday Night Football. So Jauan maybe taking things a bit far, but certainly not one to mince words when it comes to trying to get under the opponent's skin and rile them up. So good on the field when it comes to production, but also his mouth runs 24/7 when the game starts, and it never ends, and it's clearly working to affect the opponent's psyche throughout the game.
Well, I can tell you, Jauan is the kind of guy, if other players are talking about him in the locker room after the game, that puts a smile on his face, and it's only gonna keep him doing it more often. All right, we got about 7 more minutes left with you here on Overtime. That's Sterling Bennett. I'm Mark Randy. Let's get to our game balls. Let's start with the defense, actually, because the defense were the stars of this one for the 49ers. Niners win 26-8. Only 1 scoring drive in this game for Cleveland. Other than that, it was a shutout pitched by this Niner defense. Sterling, we will start with you. Who gets your game ball for the defensive side of the football today?
How about Malik Mustafa?
Oh, yeah, he was good.
That dude has been flying around making plays. I know there's been some coverage issues at times this year, but now that he has looked more healthy, he has been playing a lot better. I thought last Monday against the Panthers was this safety duo, Jair Brown and Mustafa's best game together. In this game, again, there was some problems in the run defense, but Mustafa continues to be a big bright spot in the secondary. He had 7 tackles today, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection to break up a deep pass by Shedeur Sanders with the team leading late in the game, but also had a massive 4th down stop alongside Jordan Elliott to help kind of end a Browns drive. And I think Mustafa's coming into his zone in year 2, missed the first quarter of the year, but now that he's healthy, you can see why he was so highly touted out of Wake Forest, and also why he was starting most of the year last year for San Francisco. And I think that with him healthier, you're seeing the back end of this defense that looked terrible to begin this season kind of round into form against teams like the Cardinals, against teams like the Panthers and the Browns today. And today was another kind of 3rd really good game in a row from the second-year safety.
Yeah, absolutely. He had, it was him, along with Jordan Elliott on that 4th-and-1 stop in the first quarter that set the stage for a turnover on downs. The Niners ultimately ended up not scoring on that drive, but it was a big stop there on that one. The Browns were in scoring range. They were at the 20-yard line, and a 4th-and-1. Judkins up the middle. Jordan Elliott and Malik Mustafa sent him backward for a loss of a yard. I'm in agreement with you there.
Big time.
Malik Mustafa was very good in this one. I'll take the obvious one. The guy with 2 of the team's 3 sacks, Clelin Ferrell, was very good in this game, and he's come in now with 4 sacks, Sterling, as a Niner this year in 4 games played. You take a look at the season totals now for the 49ers in terms of sacks. Keon White had 1 today. Clelin Ferrell had 2, which means as we update the overall statistics, Clelin Ferrell in 4 games played is tied for the team lead with 4 sacks on the season. Bryce Huff has 4 through 11 games played. Nick Bosa has 2 in his 3 games played. Clelin Ferrell had 2 in his 3 games played, but he jumps back past Nick Bosa, ties Bryce Huff. He has 4 in 4 games played. He was just signed off the street. He was a Niner a couple of years ago as well. He's back, and he's been playing great. I mean, he's been their best pass rusher the last month, and it hasn't been close. 4 sacks in 4 games. Had 2 of them today. He was very, very good in this one.
For all the talk of John Lynch not making a move at the deadline and how much it cost San Francisco, and pass rush hasn't been great, but Clelin Ferrell and Keon White have been really good additions to this defensive line that, I mean, quite frankly, was just so diminished and so depleted of talent. Anybody could help, but those 2 guys have been really good. And I have an NFL Next Gen stat for you today, Mark. Shedeur Sanders averaged 3.37 seconds time to throw versus San Francisco. That is the longest time to throw by a Browns quarterback in the last 3 seasons.
Wow.
But San Francisco averaged 36.7% pressure rate while only logging 3 sacks and blitzing 1 time. So San Francisco's defense and their pass rush did their job, getting to Shedeur about 1/3 of the time and bringing him down 3 times as well. So I know it's pass rush deserves some, maybe some kind of whatever. It's not very good, but today it actually did show up against the Browns in a big way.
And that time to throw statistic is also a major kudo to the secondary for keeping the receivers and tight ends under check. And it's Shedeur's not a scrambler. He can extend plays, and he can keep it alive a little bit, and that's a lot of what it was. He was moved off the spot in the pocket because of pressure, had to extend, and then ultimately either throw the ball away, take off and run himself like he did at the end of the game. But it was a pretty good display by the entire Niner defense. Okay, up next, Sterling, it is the offense. Who gets your game ball for the Niner offense in their 26-8 win over the Browns?
I think I'm going to go Brock Purdy, the quarterback, simply because you had a really rough game against the Panthers. You've had a couple of really rough games this year. You walked into playing the best defense in football, having 3 of your first 4 starts of the year have multiple interceptions. You come in, maybe some bad weather, some questions surrounding your status, at least from the fan base, as the team's starting quarterback going forward. But you walk in, you go 16 for 29. That isn't great per se, but 168 yards. You score 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing, 1 passing, and you just do what it takes to win. You made some big throws. Again, it wasn't an amazing box score game for Brock, but he played a clean game against one of the best defenses in football, used his mobility, threw the ball away, and lived to fight the next down, and then came up clutch on 3rd downs continually. So Brock Purdy gets my game ball for the offense.
Good pick. Absolutely. Good pick. I thought Brock did exactly what was asked of him in this game. I'll go with the guy we were just talking about. I think it's Jauan Jennings. He had 4 catches in this game for 39 yards and a touchdown. 3 of those 4 catches, I just quickly looked through it. I might be mistaken, but at least 3 of the 4 were 3rd down conversions, and one of those 3rd down conversions was on a 3rd and goal, which was his touchdown. He's living up to his nickname, 3rd and Jauan. He was very good today. Again, not a gigantic number of catches or yards, 4 for 39 and 1 touchdown, but it was in the big moments when he stood up and was at his best. Jauan had himself a hell of a game, and he's becoming or really staying, when you add it to what happened last year, as the go-to target for the 49ers when they're targeting wide receivers. And there's clearly a level of comfort with Brock Purdy and Jauan Jennings together. That is a duo that was great last year, and it's been pretty good the last 3 games since Brock Purdy was back. So Jauan Jennings, just for the clutchness factor, Sterling, he gets my offensive game ball.
Mark, I am embarrassed by this win. I am embarrassed because of Jauan Jennings. I'm embarrassed because of Brock Purdy. I can't believe this team is 9-4. It's not good enough for me, Mark. I am so angry on this Sunday. I can't believe I have to sit here and celebrate a win for the San Francisco 49ers. Oh, I'm so angry right now. My goodness, what a terrible day. Terrible day.
Well, because you're so upset, you know what? I'll be generous. I'll just give you next week off, okay?
Thank God.
We don't need you to do overtime next week.
Okay, 3 of the last 4 weeks off was just too hard on me. I have to take next week off too, Mark.
We're not taking it off because the Niners are taking it off. That's why, of course, Niners finally on their bye. It's the last bye week of the NFL season. I think the Niners and one other team have a bye on week 14 next week. The Niners finally get their bye. And this bye week was one that, Sterling, it was, all right, if you could just get to the bye week, all right, you feel great because now you have an advantage over all these other teams that had byes in like week 7 or week 8. They've been playing for a couple of months in a row. You get a bye heading into your final 4 games of the regular season. You will be more rested than Tennessee. You will be more rested than Indianapolis, who, by the way, looks gettable now. Not going to be an easy game, but they've lost a couple in a row, and they got a dogfight in their division now with Jacksonville and Houston, who suddenly can't lose. That Niners loss in Houston looks a whole lot better now, by the way. You'll be more well-rested than Chicago and more well-rested than Seattle to close out the regular season. Niners on the bye. Their next game 2 weeks from today, December 14th, when the Niners host the Tennessee Titans, led by rookie first overall pick Cam Ward. Sterling, I will talk to you then. Enjoy your bye, and hopefully next time we talk, it's about a 10-4 Niner team.
Victory Sundays are the best, Mark.
Yes,
Can't wait to do it again.
Me too. All right, that's Sterling Bennett. For our guys behind the glass, Cam Williams and Steven Risotto, I'm Mark Grandy signing off. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you're here bright and early tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. for the Morning Roast as they continue to break down this Niner win over the Browns. Final score, 26-8. Niners are now 9-4, and they're a half game out of the NFC West because the Panthers did them a solid and beat the Rams in Carolina earlier today. The Seahawks, though, are dominating the Vikings 16-0, and they're getting close to scoring once again. Looks like the Seahawks will also be 9-3 when this one is over. All right, that does it for us today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And my name is Mark Grandy signing off. We'll talk tomorrow on 95.7 The Game.
All right, folks, this is it. The weekend many of you have been waiting for. Black Friday. The lowest prices of the year on the top-rated brands of TV.